location. This is my new yarn storage room. I don't feel like I can call it a studio like Erin does, because that implies that you know what you're doing. And I still trip all over myself. I don't really know how to call it a craft room because I'm not really big on crafts. This is pretty much the only thing I do. So this is now my yarn haven, for lack of a better word. But first, let's talk about something else, and that is, look at my shirt. Your mother always told you do not hang knitwear, and t-shirts like this are knitwear. This shoulder's okay, but this one is not, and I'll tell you why. I always hang my knitwear, but you got to have the right hanger, and this was hung on the wrong hanger. Wait, let me see if you can see it right there. That's why you don't hang knitwear. Just thought I'd let you know. And if you want to know what this says in binary computer language, hang on till the end. Now, a lot has gone on this week, just in everyday life, and in my yarn life too, so I really didn't get a whole lot done on my sock yarn hat that I was working on last week. I did add a couple of rows to it or so, maybe a little bit more than that, but I just got sidetracked with other projects like this move. And in the process of rooting through all my yarn and moving things around from downstairs, I found 2 skeins of this burnout roving. I remember buying this when my friend was diagnosed with cancer, and I thought it would be a really warm, relatively soft hat. And so I started doing the slip stitch hat on it, and I didn't like the way it was coming out. And so I just put it aside and found later that I really couldn't rip it out very well. So I cut it off and was going to do something else with that. Now, it says that it's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. Is that right? Yes. And so I thought, can you wash this? So I used the part that I cut off, tossed it in the washer and the dryer to see what would happen. And you can't say it's felted, because you see how you can see the holes through it? I think it did pull up a little bit, shrink a touch, but not enough to be noticed. So after I did my little test wash on this, I did a simple scarf, double crochet back loop only. I'm sorry, hat and scarf combination that I'm adding to my collection for Yolanda Soto Lopez. Remember, she does the orphanages every year in Mexico. So I'm doing a little bit as I go to add to that, so when the time comes to ship it to her, we'll have a nice collection. But I don't think I'll be buying roving again. It's neat. It's just I don't know. It's very different somehow. However, then I got the Addi out, the Addi king size, and started using some of my scrap yarn. And well, look at this video clip. So I made this hat using scrap yarn on my Addi. Actually, I had to open a new skein for this. I'm getting down to colors that I don't have enough to do a hat and scarf, so I'm trying to incorporate my scraps with new skeins now. And I really liked it. I thought this came out great, so I said, all right, let's do a matching scarf. And I have made so many tuck stitches that I just can't live with it. This is impeccable, and usually it takes impeccable well, but I think I'm just not paying attention to what I'm doing. I was trying to watch YouTube videos while I was working, and you really can't do that. You need to listen to something, don't watch something. So I am about to endeavor on my first lifeline for an Addi project. I don't want, see, I've done all these stripes and I don't want to do all that all over again. So there is a way in regular knitting where you run a cord through the point where you want to rip back to. And I am going to give that a go to see if I can save all my work that I've done here. I since tried to do a lifeline and I messed it up. So here is the scarf. Now I'm going to have to start all over again. But it'll be okay. And here is Knitting Machine World sitting over here in this corner. I got a Brother KX 350, which is a beginner level machine, and I really like it a lot, but there's so much to learn. You can see I've been practicing, and I sit there, and I sit here of course, and I put my videos on there so that I could work and learn as I go, so I kind of like have a class. I've learned several handy dandy things, and there's mistakes here and there, but it's just part of the learning process. And again, you know, everybody thinks, oh, knitting machine, how simple. You just slide this across. Poof. Yeah, well, that's not all there is to it. There's a whole lot about increasing and decreasing, and you have to use the latch tool and yada yada yada. Now this of course is not a fancy one, not by any stretch of the imagination. But it's a great starter machine. I've been really pleased with it. It does smell like smoke. I got it from eBay, and apparently the original owner, not necessarily the person I bought it from, smoked. So I had to take all the needles out. I replaced the sponge bar. I don't know if you can see this. This right here is called a sponge bar or sponge strip, and I ordered it from spongebar.com, which makes me laugh because all I can think of is SpongeBob. So anyhow, I need to trim that. But there are plenty of videos out there that walk me through the process. I learned a whole lot about what to use on it. I actually washed this entire bed in the bathtub. So here we are taking a bath in nice warm water and a gentle shampoo. And now I'm going to put some baking soda. Oops, not even seeing what I'm doing. Baking soda in the water. Remember, almost anything can be cleaned with vinegar and baking soda. And I buy vinegar in these big giant things. Have you ever seen vinegar and baking soda? What happens when you add it? See the bubbles? 6th grade science teacher stuff there. Now, we'll let that sit for a little while and soak some of that tar and nicotine off. Wash it down and dry it off really well. And then I wipe down each of these needles with alcohol, thanks to Tom Knitting Machine Guy. He has a great blog, and he does really fancy knitting machines. But he told me to use a little alcohol, and that works really well, which I cleaned each of the needles, and I oiled the bed, and wiped off the excess oil, and then anyway, I followed all the directions, and it works like a dream. I couldn't be happier. I just need to practice, because just like with the Addi machines, there's a skill level involved in order to do. I mean, you can, like you saw me, I did one whole row just then. That was easy, but it's the other stuff that's not so easy. And I really, really have enjoyed it. See, it's got the tension that goes up there. So, there you have it. One other little note has to do with these Birdie hats. A long time ago, I think it was like last spring, I found this little knitted hat. I only found a picture. And I thought, oh, I want to make a crocheted version of this little birdie hat. Let me see if I can get a better shot of this. I fell in love with it. And so I did try to make a crocheted version right here. This was the prototype, and I still have work to do on this. In the meantime, on Etsy, I found the person who made these, and I bought this. Is this not the cutest thing you ever saw? I loved this, and I had to buy it. So I'll see if I can't come up with a crochet version similar to that we can do, or maybe now that I have the knitting machine, you know, well, I don't think I can do this on the Addi, but I may be able to do it on the flatbed. But you definitely know, you knitters, see how it's decreased and everything? You hand knitters could do that. Oh, and speaking of that, I dug out, in the process of moving everything around, I found my different sets of knitting needles, and I got some cotton out because Tammy told me that she had practiced her knitting on dishcloths, cotton dishcloths, and she figured if there was a mistake, it didn't matter. So I guess that's what I'm going to do, because it's not that I can't knit, I just can't do it well enough to suit myself, and I don't improve fast enough to suit myself. But what it boils down to is I've got to practice. So I don't know when Denise and I are going to get together for my personal lesson, but but I can't wait around on you know, depending upon someone else. I can practice by myself, so I will try to do that. And I guess that's all I have to say. So until next week, bye. My shirt says Mom in binary code.